Start cutting that silicone away from that metal right there. See, that's not bad. And hey, look at that. Look what else just popped out of there. So I've been throwing away little transformers. What is that? There's more in here besides that. Hang on. Plastic's gonna be brittle on these. We'll expose them all to get to the screws on top. We'll do that to all of them. The hatchet's my favorite tool to use to open up these copper contacts. I mean, you could use it to pry and leverage things. Use the back side as a hammer. Then you got the sharp edge side for hacking things. And accommodating the hatchet with a 3-pound slug hammer is a great combination for certain types of scraps, and I think that this is one of them right here. For me, when I get these copper contacts, it's like almost always a fact that I can't get all the screws out to separate the bottom copper plate from the rest of the plastic and the other copper pieces. But either way is what I'm getting at is this method is just literally a hatchet and a sluggo hammer, little 3-pound slug hammer. And I'm basically hacking through the screws that I could not get out. I don't know why they don't come out. Sometimes there's screws in these copper contacts that will snap your bit right off. You know, so for whatever reason, if the screw gives me a hard time, I abandon trying to get it out. And this is the end result. This is how I separate the copper plate on the bottom of these from the rest of the plastic. I watched the weather, and then it was saying about a Canadian Arctic blast type stuff coming in, Arctic cold front from Canada. Mason, you got 5 more minutes and you're gonna go inside so you don't freeze your little nuts off, okay? Yeah. So that's what we're kind of dealing with today, I suppose. It is Wednesday. I'm going out dumpster diving tonight. So I would like to get some more things finished here at this bench, which we got mostly cleared. Besides a little pile of these copper contacts we're going to open up, and then we're going to weigh up all the number 2 copper that we pulled from these. Okay, that's my game plan right there. It's a little bit windy. It's not bad. It's tolerable. Totally tolerable. You go inside, Mason. Go slow. All right. Here, I set a new shop light. I took a shop light out of the shop out back and strung it up here. Lights up the bench a lot better, I think. But let's finish up taking these apart for one. Then we're gonna weigh up all this copper right here. And that's basically what yesterday's video was about, and I guess it's still kind of about that right now, but that's totally fine. I was just using a hatchet to get these apart, and that seemed to work pretty good.
That's all plastic junk right there, as far as I could see. Then you got some copper pieces on the top here, and then you got this here on the bottom. But these, they kind of pry up out of there quite easy. If anything, hardly with any effort, and they just pop out. See that? Pretty cool. Definitely not a higher yielding copper contact, but these pieces are coming out nice. Pretty nice. Almost falling right out. And then you got this piece on the bottom that you need to get. And honestly, what I was doing was I was smacking it on one side to get it to pop up like a tab. And then I just kind of, you'll see. This is what I do. Like that. See that? Now I can get behind this. And behind this, you basically just have plastic and silicone. So what I was doing is I was just using the edge of the hatchet, and I was just kind of pushing down on it like this, cutting most of the silicone away from the metal, right? Then you got a piece of number 2 copper right there. There is some tiny little silver contacts and stuff on there, but I'm not willing to play through the goop to get it. I just want the piece of metal, really. And then no, this is plastic. There ain't much left but plastic on this, so these go pretty quick. It just doesn't yield as much as the other ones did, where you get these big thick chunks of copper off of them. I'll still take them. They're still good scrap, just not as good. So I just pry that piece off. That came off with a piece of copper right there. That was kind of cool. But then you just got 2 more pieces right here. You can pry them out. That's what I'm doing, and that works good. Every bit helps. Smack that. It kind of pops open the edges on both sides, and I just come in with this hatchet and just kind of start cutting that silicone away from that metal right there. See, that's not bad. And hey, look at that. Look what else just popped out of there. So I've been throwing away little transformers. What is that? There's more in here besides that. Hang on. Right here, this little item. I didn't know there was more in there. Look at that. I just discovered something. Inside this little block, we have a little bit of copper windings. I didn't know that. Yeah. Look. Oh, it's like a little tiny mini transformer. There's tiny little steel plates in there. And then you just got some copper wound around it. I guess we could salvage them. We could do that. Why not? Those might be easy to take apart, but there's not a whole lot on there. So, it looks like I tossed out a number of those, maybe a few. Right there. I think that was it. Oh, we got one right here. Right there. So, we're gonna have more with those in it. So let's get all those out and mess with that real quick and see if it was worth getting the little bits of copper out of there. Because we still gotta do something to it. We gotta cut that wire off of there. Or get the steel out. Almost could use a pair of needle nose pliers, but I don't know. Those little things, are they worth it, or are they just? Should I just throw that in transformers? It's technically what it is. But let's get the rest of this metal up out of there. Non-ferrous metal. You guys just see what I'm doing. I'm prying it right off like it's nothing, really. They're not even locked in there. They just slide out. Like I said, I've never heard of or even seen these kind before. But you guys see the process that I'm doing here. Pretty cool. And you got another one of those. Okay. Starting to be a nice little pile right there for free. I mean, this was in one spot that last time we were out, where I found these contacts and I was like, oh, copper contacts type deal. And I gotta say, this shop light I put up, that was a good idea. This table is nicely illuminated now. I didn't know those were in there. Yeah, these come apart so nice. I'm not kidding. If I had a bunch of them, I'd do them. That's what I'm doing right now. I think it's nice that I can do these and just use a hatchet. I find that really nice to do. That makes it convenient to me. Awesome. And then we can weigh up all this copper and see what we got. That's my goal. Sweet. I don't know if I want to mess with these. The vibration of that grinder made some of these steel pieces fall out. How hard are these to pull out? Not hard at all. So I may not even need, yeah, I don't even need to cut them. I don't know about these guys. I don't know. See, those popped out nicely on that side. So did that. They pulled just about as easy as a fuse would, so if I don't smack them up with a hammer, I could just empty them out like that and then smack the plastic out of the copper. That would be ideal to me, I think. But I've been here for a minute doing this, and I feel like that's not enough copper to you know, keep me interested in doing these. That's the thing, that's what I'm thinking. But if you can get a rhythm and get them out fast, I don't see why not, right? That one pulled nicely. If they all just pulled out nicely like that, yeah, I could see how that would add up. I could justify that. Yeah. Pull out nicely. That one did. Okay. See, now we're building up copper a little bit faster. I'm starting to establish like a rhythm to doing these. You never know, there could be a day where I get thousands of these little things. That happens. When you get bunches of little things like that, you got to find a good, you know, a good rhythm. Kind of like that one time when I found all those little bus bar contacts, and I had to sit here with a cutting multi-tool and open up every single one of them because they were all plastic riveted to boards. That was awesome. I think I forgot how much copper I pulled from just those alone, but it was over 100 pounds for sure. You know, and those are the dumpster dives that I love finding, when you get mass quantities of something and you can make a good buck on it and do a good deed all at the same time. Why not? But this is the last one of these. Oh, like a weird sound over here. All right, let's smack these open with a hammer. You know, they're actually opening up quite nicely. Yeah. Wow. They're turning into little copper worms. See? That's kind of cool. Whoa. Yeah, this might not have been worth it. I don't know. To do these little things. That might not even be a pound of copper. I doubt it. There's little bit chunks of plastic in it that makes it tough to get out. But overall, yeah, we did get a handful of copper out of that. We did. It's number 2, that's for sure. All right. There. There, it's a little dirty, but it's there. All that's just whatever. I know there's little pieces from cutting it with the angle grinder at first. That was not a good decision, but let's weigh up our goods here. Let's see what we got out of that. First, we'll do that little copper nugget ball that we just made. It was 1 pound exactly, so that was worth like $4 or $5 right now. I guess if you can do those really fast, it'd be worth it. But opposed to all the other stuff that came off of them, this is the small yielding portion of it that'd be more time consuming, I think. But yeah, 1 pound. But let's weigh up all of this. This was like all of the copper that we had gotten from the contacts that we picked from that one night. And this stuff, it may not look like a lot, but this stuff can add up to be really heavy, really heavy. Can any of you guess how much is on there already? Oh, that's going to be hard to stack it up there now. We're getting there, hang on. We'll make it all fit on there. Oh. Ah. All right, that was 26 pounds of copper right there. 26 pounds. Oh, and 27 pounds. I think I said back in that video, I said it was like 30 pounds of copper out of the 40 pounds that was in that box full. Well, that's probably about almost right. 27 pounds right there. Nice. I mean, that's over $100 in today's prices, right? So let's get all that in our bucket. So without further ado, the time lapse is going to begin now.
thank you for those that have stayed and watched that time lapse. I appreciate it. I'm just trying to balance the editing and dumpster diving days. Today is Wednesday. I go out tonight. So literally right after uploading this video, I am out all night picking. So I appreciate y'all staying and watching. Thank you very much. Mason Boy says hello. He's looking at it right now. Hi, Mason Boy. Okay, gotta go.